Everybody told me you're gonna drop your kid, and I was like, y'all are crazy people. Like, I will never drop Libby. Dropped her on her head. ER, the whole shebang.
That's what's important about these conversations, is to realize you're not gonna get it perfect, and that there's grace for you.
Like, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna be the rock star wife, and I had to literally, I'm still to this day, having to just let go and just learn, hot topic, submission.
One of the biggest takeaways as a woman, as a mama, is to learn to strengthen your mind and strengthen yourself and prepare yourself for battles. They're coming. You're going to not get it all perfect. You're going to make some mistakes, but keep fighting.
Well, good morning, everybody. Well, maybe it's not morning for you if you're watching, but it's morning for us. We're all drinking our cup of joe. My name's Katie, and I am so pumped to be with the Wildly Seen, Totally Loved podcast sisters this morning. I get to speak from the fan club side, because we are the mamas that are watching them every day. And we are the girls, we're the singles that are watching this podcast, just constantly learning from these testimonies of wilderness seasons. And this is a special podcast. Are we airing it on Mother's Day?
I think it's just going to be, hopefully we have 2 episodes of this. Yeah. So we should just kind of air them around Mother's Day. I don't know if it'll be exactly on the actual date.
I love it. I love it. So we have an amazing group. You already know, you get to watch them with what they're doing and what the Lord's doing through Wildly Seen. But just some mamas that, man, they walk through this life raising their kids, walking alongside their husbands, and they do it really well, whether they feel like it or not. And us young mamas are looking and watching and learning from y'all. And man, I've only been a part of y'all's lives for the last 6 or 7 years, but the Lord knew I needed this time, these people, in this season of my life. And so today our prayer is just that you feel encouraged, that you feel equipped with some wisdom, biblical wisdom, and also just people that have walked through this life, that are walking through this life. All of these mamas have different age kiddos. I have a 10-month-old. Jen has Willie 14. That's about to get married. And anyway, I'll let them talk about themselves. But we're pumped you're here. We're excited for you to tune in. Mamas, tell them who you are and how many kids you have, their ages, all the fun stuff.
Okay, I'm Jennifer Cochran. I'm married to Cody, wild man, preacher man, and we've been married 28 years. I've been a mama for 25. Willie's our oldest, and he is about to get married. It is a sweet little season that you pray for, and it's been a fun thing to watch and see them get ready to start their own family. So neat, but always a learning season, right? Yeah. But we're enjoying that. And then Jesse, he is 22 and he's doing great, just kind of finding his way, figuring out what his passions are and where he wants to go with his career. And
that age right there is I feel like that 18 to
he's getting over that little hump of 18 to 21. That's tricky. Yeah. I think that's tricky for everyone that season.
Agreed.
Figuring out, who am I? What am I going to do with myself?
Yeah.
But, and then Claire Lynn is almost 15. Weird. And she is my little
weird.
Yes. You remember her she's my little fiddle player and my best friend, and what a godsend. So love my little family. It's awesome.
I'm Betsy, and I am married to Luke, and we've been married 17 years. And I have Maggie, who is 12. About to be 13, which is so weird,
It's so funny.
And she's awesome. We get to hang out and do all the things because I homeschool her. And then we have Ren, who is 7, going to be 8 next fall. And she's awesome and doing her own things too. She's got softball going on. It's been fun to watch her grow into that. And
is she playing softball or is she digging in the flowers?
No, she legit is tough.
She's that's awesome.
A ball hit her the other day. She stopped it, caught it, and tagged a runner. I was like,
whoa.
And it was kind of surprised her.
Mama.
She was like, whoa.
That is so fun.
So that's fun to watch her kind of come into her own on that. And we have a blast. My girls are the best. I thought I wanted boys. And I just knew, because I had all these girls that I coached, and I was like, I really just want all boys, because girls can be drama. And, there's so many girl things.
Look at the Lord.
And I'm like, man, Lord, you knew I needed these girls. They are the best. They sharpen me.
So good.
It's so cool.
And they need you. Same with your kids.
they
Yes.
do need their mamas.
I'm Christina, married to Corey Bubba Darty.
I did not know that about him.
Yes, that is his actual
We'll so be using that.
middle name on paper.
He's going to come on the show sometime.
He is. He is
Oh,
going to come on
wow.
the show sometime. When he was 7, he got to rename himself, and he chose Bubba as his middle name. So, fun fact there.
As every 7-year-old boy would.
Yeah, you know.
I feel like
I
that's
think he was
appropriate.
7, something like that. I might have got the story wrong, but he was young.
That's funny.
Anyway, so I'm married to him. We are fixing to be celebrate our 15-year anniversary, which is a miracle from the Lord in itself. We have a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old. Chloe, she goes to ACU. She's finishing her last semester starting in June. She'll finish her last semester at ACU, planning for grad school. And Madeline is a cosmetologist here in Abilene.
Go see
And
Madeline.
Yes,
Get
go
your
see her
haircut.
at
Get your hair
2031 salon, and
Yeah.
she's trying to build up her clientele, and that's been a hard thing to navigate, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're at right now.
I have
And
another
you're also about to be an empty nester.
Yes.
Oh.
yeah, because she's fixing to move out and move in. But her and Chloe are getting their own little place.
Wow.
And yeah.
How are
so-
y'all feeling about that? Let's just.
I don't really know. It's like we're kind of excited about it, but we're kind of not, because if you know my husband, you know that he is a workaholic, and he takes great care of us. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But he is a workaholic, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
I had cool relationships with my girls. They were like my best
You
friends.
do, yeah.
And anyway, so I'm like, what am I gonna do with them gone? But I'm
Mhm.
sure the Lord will provide something there for me.
Oh, he will.
It's
My
gonna-
parents
it's gonna be
were
cool
in
to
that
see.
same thing. My little brother, he's 19 now, so he just left. We're all oldest brother just had his first baby alongside. It's just been crazy for them too. They're trying
Yeah.
to figure it out. They're both very not retired,
Yeah.
very much working, and so it's fun. They're loving it too.
Yeah.
Loving it, loving it, loving it. Well, we're all mamas here. I'm Katie. I have Livy. She's 10 months old, or Olivia.
So cute.
So I'm the newbie here in the group. I'm like,
New mama.
just here to this mom life. First Mother's Day's coming, I guess.
And were you
Um,
prepared for everything? Like you
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
totally.
make the nursery and you do all
No, I did. I was excited about her nursery.
It was very
I-
cute, by the way.
I was excited about it. I was like, I needed to be practical. So Facebook Marketplace furniture. You don't have to go super bougie. None of that.
Speaking of nurseries, this is so funny. With Maggie, I handmade all of her blankets and did all these special little
That's
intricate
amazing.
things that my mom and I made. And then with Ren, we were living in a rent house and we weren't going to be there very long, we didn't think. And so I literally bought her a top sheet and a blanket from Target that didn't match. And I didn't hang anything on her walls. I set
Oh,
one
my
thing on her
goodness.
dresser and I was like, this is great.
That's all you need.
Just seasons, isn't
Simplify.
that funny? You
Oh, yeah.
change and they change
Yeah.
you. And
not
Well-
hurling pictures of the second child.
yeah.
I still get
Everybody tells me that.
yeah,
my
I was
phone
gonna
is
say
only
I still
Olivia.
get flack from Madeline because
Yes.
I have no baby pictures of her.
Yeah.
Like Chloe,
Mm.
we did like the
Of
1 month
course.
old, the
Mhm.
6 month old, the
Right.
24 months old. We did the little
Exactly.
pictures and stuff. And with Madeline, their senior year of high school, you got to have all the pictures for all the things. And
Yeah.
they do a baby picture in the newspaper.
yeah.
And I didn't have a baby picture of her to put in the newspaper. I was like, Madeline, we could just get one online. And we could just say it's you. Nobody's gonna know.
A blonde,
Cutest baby.
Yeah,
beautiful
just
baby.
beautiful baby. We'll say it's
And
you.
look at her. She's,
Poor Madeline.
she's just
She's
fine.
fine.
She's
She's
doing
fine.
fine.
She's great.
Traumatic childhood.
My mom, she hand sewed like all of our comforters and all of that. Like
That's awesome.
she did that. She
Yeah.
made her own comforters. She's
My mom made my clothes when I was little. Some of them. I still have a little dress she made.
Okay,
Cute.
that's precious. Did
I
Clara
know.
wear it?
No, we're talking. You
Oh,
have to
it's
understand the age gap here between us. My mother and Clara is a lot. I was a late baby.
As far as preparation goes for Livy,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll
There's
get
no
into that
such thing
later.
as
Social
never being
media
prepared,
makes you
yeah.
feel like you have to have everything, and
Oh,
when they're there,
gosh.
you just start doing it. It's weird. Like you have your baby, and it's like God just equips you.
But how do you
Yeah.
prepare
It's
for
like
when
you were
they're
made for that.
screaming and that goes on? That's what it was hard for me. I'm like, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
You gotta
speaking
work
of
on it.
screaming
Okay.
and them doing all the things, biggest mom fail. Like,
Oh.
let's just go into it. Let's just go hit the nitty gritty. Like, the funniest, most like, dang, if somebody knew that, they would be like,
I don't know.
Well, somebody's about to know.
Everybody better know. Don't
Well,
worry,
so-
I'll share
okay.
mine too, but y'all go ahead.
I'll share mine. So Ren, she had a, well, I know for sure we probably dropped both of our kids.
Oh, yeah.
I know
yeah.
for sure.
Same.
So somewhere along the way, I don't remember all the details of those, but I do remember Ren. She was little and she was having a tea party. So not little enough to like, she could do her own tea party. She had her little teacups and was pouring water in there and drinking it out of her little cups. And she had just gotten a new Polly Pocket. Well, she liked little toys. And so normally with Maggie, she didn't have anything little around her because I was crazy with my first kid. Now with Ren, I was like, she'll be fine. She's not going to eat it. She was putting all these little Polly Pocket pieces in her teacups. And she drank one and choked on it at the table
Oh my gosh.
and finally got it down. So it was a little scary too. But
Oh,
then
she
I remember,
like swallowed it.
yeah, she swallowed it all the way down. So then I remember going, I don't know what she just swallowed. So we laid out every Polly Pocket piece, had the back of the carton, and we're like, well, there's 3 balloons. Whoop, we're missing a balloon. She swallowed a Polly Pocket balloon. So we don't know if it ever came out or not. It might be, I don't know.
Rim may still be. Just,
Might have it in her intestines as we speak. I don't know.
What a carnival.
Hadn't
What a fun
caused
time.
any issues, so we're good.
Oh, my Leota.
So tea party gone
Oh,
wrong.
gosh.
How old was she?
She's almost 8.
Okay, but when that happened.
She was like 3.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that would have been terrifying.
So
That is terrifying.
Probably like the one that sticks out the most is Chloe was in 7th grade. She was playing basketball and she fell and hurt her knee. And I was like, you're fine. You're fine. And she finished out that season. And then in 8th grade, I mean, she complained about it for, a while. And then started playing basketball in 8th grade. And by that time, she had this little like knot on the inside of her knee that was growing. And I'm like, yeah, we should probably get that checked out. Well, her and Corey had went to the doctor for some scoliosis to look at her back. And I was like, hey, while you're there, just ask them if we should get the knee checked out. And they forgot. And so it was like 6 months later before we went back. And so we finally go back and I'm like, okay, should we? And they're like, oh yeah, we get an MRI on it. She had torn her meniscus and it had gotten torn so bad that it was leaking fluid and caused a cyst.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we had to go have surgery on the knee and all the things because I was like, you're fine. Tough it up.
Okay, you're
girl."
not the only one. That balance of like, okay, is this an actual emergency?
Yeah.
Like working in the school, your
Yeah.
kids come up and they're like,
Mhm.
I fell and it hurts. Like, if you don't
You're
take them
probably okay.
seriously,
You're probably
Yeah.
okay.
like, what if they did?
Yeah.
In my
You know?
defense, which Chloe would say I don't have a defense. In my defense, she is dramatic. And so I was just like,
You're like, you're fine. You're
I
fine.
I remember this whole process too.
Yeah, it
We
was-
lived next door at the
Yes,
time. And
yes.
so
That's
it
so
was
funny.
like, I'm sure I think I said at one point, I'm sure it's fine.
Fine,
And she's
yeah.
still walking.
Yeah.
She's
Good.
So
All
I was
good.
no help.
Well, all the terrible things that happened to my kids was under my care, supervision,
The worst.
always, every time. Cody was always the most responsible parent. So, but
Or you were
Um,
just there. You were at home.
no,
Yeah,
it was my neglect, but probably
No.
And we just have to laugh about it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty tragic, a lot of these things, but like you, Will was playing soccer and I forgot to bring his shin guards to practice for him. I was like, oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. And so he got kicked in the shin.
Oh.
And we didn't know to the next day. We had to leave the practice because he was hurting and crying and couldn't walk on it. Well, the next day we figured out it had broke both of his bones in his leg.
my
Yes, and they were
goodness.
offset a little bit, but yeah, so that was mom fail. And
Who
then
knew those shin guards were so important?
I know.
I
And then-
kind of thought they were like to keep you from when you fall and scrape your
Yeah.
leg, not like,
Not like a
broken bone
breaking.
and such.
he got
Yeah.
kicked going at the goalie, so the goalie guy was coming his way, and he was going trying to kick the ball
Oh.
in, and that kid kicked him right in the shin. So there's a great reason for shin guards
Okay.
in soccer.
Noted. All the moms.
Like
Bad
moms,
shins.
Don't
yeah.
do that.
Don't
Don't
forget the
forget the
shin
shin
guards.
guards. Don't-
Yeah.
And then, of course, y'all all know the story of Jesse falling in the fire. And
Mhm.
Cody had gone to the house to get something, and we're sitting out by the fire, and boys would wrap me up with ropes, doing what the little cowboy movie they like to watch was doing. And I didn't feel good that day. I had like a sinus infection. So I wasn't, and about that time was when Jesse tripped over the rope and he fell in the fire, and it is that quick, and so you have all these things. Talk about mom guilt, it's really a thing, and sometimes it takes some real time to get over, but we're all gonna make mistakes and fail,
Heck yeah,
and we have to learn. Like some of the littler things are like, I don't think my kids like cookies or toast because I've always burned it, never growing up did they ever get it where it wasn't burnt, and things like that are just little stuff, and you just have to learn to kind of laugh at yourself, and laugh it off, or because you just we're all gonna get some things wrong with our kids.
So like whenever I first had Livy, I had her in June. I had to think. I always get June, July mixed up. Like, what happened there? She was born.
You had a baby.
She was born. And everybody was like, watch out for cold and flu season. Like, RSV is gnarly. And I was like, okay. So in the back of my mind as a mom, I'm like, okay, if my child gets RSV, like that's the worst thing that could happen to her ever. Well, Livy got RSV. And thankfully, like we started catching it and doing all the things really early. One of the things for Darren's Christmas present, he has a lot of allergy problems. His parents got us like a commercial grade humidifier. Like can humidify our whole house, like the square footage. Insane. We put it in our bedroom because I was like, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Like get this going. So it has percentages. Like you can do 10% humidity, 20%, whatever. Well, I thought I had clicked through all the options and got us back to like the lowest. No, I left it on 90. Walked out of the room. This is supposed to like humidify like 1,250 square feet
in her
bedroom, her nursery.
Oh, wow.
And so I walk out of the room and she's taking a nap. Like I'm not even looking at the baby monitor. Like she's out. And she had slept for about 3 hours. And I was like, I'll be darned, like she is sleeping. I'm going to go check on her. I opened the door and the smoke or the fog, the whatever, humidity just pours out of that room. I mean, the floors are wet. Her rug is soaking wet. And I can't see the crib. Like I can't see Livy. And I'm thinking, fire,
so
like
scary.
Everything horrible. And I go over and she's snoring. Like,
she was
and then
sleeping
like
good.
literally that was like the turn of events of like her getting completely better. I was like, maybe
Wow.
the Lord just knew she needed an extra dose of water in hers. I don't know, but
There's
that's
so
my
much
biggest
grace
mom
in all of it,
Yeah.
though. That
Yeah,
just like
like
what we
you know,
need.
here you are going, and the Lord's like
screaming
so
bloody
over
murder.
the things.
Yes.
Yes.
And Livy, I told Darren all the time, I'm like, I really think that was her turning point. Like she needed that. We're not going to do it again, but she needed that. She needed it really bad.
She needed to be showered in humidity.
Yes. And we
It
all
helped.
have, I mean, we could tell stories and stories. Livy's
Yeah.
10 months old. Y'all have multiple kids.
Yeah.
Like the stories could go on, but just like things happen. Like everybody told me, you're going to drop your kid. And I was like, y'all are crazy.
Yeah,
people.
no,
Like,
yes.
you will I will never drop Livy. Dropped her on her head. ER, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we could just go on.
Well, and I
on
think
about
that's
that.
what's important about these conversations is to realize you're not going to get it perfect,
No,
and that there's grace for you. And sometimes one thing can be very pivotal in a mom's life that makes her just lose hope or lose self-worth or whatever it is, because that's the enemy's tactics, lies and deception, and he will immediately take an opportunity to try to make us feel like something
So
we're
good.
not, and
So
that's the difference in our enemy and our savior. Our savior is graceful, loving, kind, and redeeming, and that's what we as mamas need.
Because we can like you were just saying, you can spiral from these events and
it
be
can
like,
be such a big deal.
he can just feed off of that. Like,
Right.
you neglected, you're not watching, you're not a good mom. You don't have what you need to be, and just can take those tiny little incidents like freak accidents.
Exactly. And I think one of the biggest takeaways as a woman, as a mama, is to learn to strengthen your mind and strengthen yourself and prepare yourself for battles. They're coming.
Yeah.
You're going to not get it all perfect. You're going to make some mistakes, but keep fighting.
It's not if, it's when.
Stay in the
It's
battle.
biblical.
Keep fighting to
When
get
it comes.
wiser and
Yeah.
stronger in the word, and let the Lord strengthen you, because
So good.
you're gonna get over it, but you have to learn to strengthen yourself some, because you can take on these identities of what you're not good at. And I struggled with that a lot when my kids were little, because I was the parent that messed up all the time.
but also
or the things, whatever.
all the feelings that rise up in motherhood.
Yes, we're so
We are so drawn to go towards our feelings. And I love what you just shared about strengthening yourself, because that's like, you have a choice. You can buy
Yes, you
your feelings and sit down and
That's
waller
right.
and whine
Yeah.
and be stuck. or you can
Yes.
get yourself up
Mhm.
and you can turn to the Lord and you can let him walk you through,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that takes, just takes actively doing that to learn
Right.
it. I don't
Right.
think that's something that you just like wake up one day and you're just good at that. Like, I think that is just trial by fire. Like, you have to put
Yes.
yourself in those situations and go,
Mhm.
I'm gonna make a move here that's different than my normal response.
That's
I'm
right.
going to say this based because of something you said about the enemy. Like, I battled even coming and sitting here with y'all because I don't feel worthy to be here.
Yeah.
But because of what you said and the strength in your mind, I didn't know the Lord for the first, I'm not going to say half, but maybe like pretty close to half of the girls growing up. I wasn't living with the Lord. I wasn't living for the Lord. I was quote unquote saved, but checkbox go. And it was so hard to be a good mama. And I'm not, that's my fault for, not turning. But once I did turn to the Lord, like I don't know how people do this without the Lord, because once I turned to the Lord and seen my need for him in motherhood was when things shifted for the way better.
Yes.
Like my relationship with them, their relationship with me, their relationship with the Lord, because they saw the shift. And so that whole, like, the enemy, the mom guilt, like I have so much mom guilt that I still battle for those years that I lived without the Lord and tried to be a mom.
But what a redemption story that your kids got to see. I saw my mom before the Lord wrecked her. And then I see my mom now. Like, my parents, they've been saved, their whole life. We went to church and but Lord's like radically changed my parents as I've gotten older. And like, I've seen them like lay down alcohol, all this stuff. And it's been such a cool thing to zoom out and see my parents walk with the Lord. Like, and so, I know that's hard. And then your comment about, I don't know how people raise kids without the Lord. You were doing that. Like, and you did it. Like, they're alive.
And look at their faith now. They experienced the change.
Their faith now is them at 19 and 21. Like, I can't, you can get worried, like when they're in those 19 to 21 age. I don't know.
Probably sure what happens to them, but the minds go.
And so but I have to remind myself of where I was when I was 19 and 21. And I'm like, if the Lord brought me from there to here, the Lord is going to meet them, and he's going to have grace on them, and he's going to lead them, and they're his. And so,
and I admire you. And I was thinking about you a lot this last week as we were leading into this, because I've thought about the journey with you, and I get to see it from afar. I know you've had firsthand, but I do admire you so much because you've had what Cody uses this word, spiritual determination.
I love that.
You have been determined to grow spiritually, even though you weren't raised that way. It wasn't part of maybe your foundation or heritage, whatever. But you know what? You had an encounter with a Savior, and it changed your life, and you didn't understand it all, but you were going to figure it out and learn and grow.
And you haven't stopped running after him.
And it's beautiful. It's messy for us all. It's messy, and we got to get used to that. And it's okay. We're going to be determined. So I really
spiritual
do.
determination. That's that strength that we were talking about. I love that.
I do.
I'll tell y'all this. I had a moment just in my own motherhood moment of like worried about this and worried about that. Really nothing that was pressing, like just how we do. We get in these moments of like, how's this going to turn out? What's this going to look like? And I went and walked with Christina yesterday morning, and I just said all the things I was worried about. And she was like, okay, well, let's talk about some truth. And she spoke some truth over me. And it was so encouraging to have her, just because she's gone before me in raising a teen. And I'll tell you, I watched her, we were next door neighbors, you know the story, but I'm telling you, I watched her make hard choices with her girls. I watched her communicate with her girls through them. And I have learned so much to prepare me to be a mom to Maggie as a teenager because of Christina and how she parented her girls. And it wasn't always perfect, and it wasn't always beautiful, and it wasn't always easy. But I've just gone back to lots of things where I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember how she handled that. I remember when she did this, or setting her girls apart by not having a phone, or just different things that she did because she believed in what God was doing in her life and her family. Very cool to watch.
Love it.
So
Well, thank y'all for all
We love
that,
y'all.
but enough about me.
No, I love that. And I think we all kind of have
important.
those thoughts. Like when Betsy reached out, I'm like, I'm 10 months into this thing.
Yeah.
If I could bring anything to this podcast, it's like, Lord, help me learn from y'all. Like that's what and so there's just, we're always learning and growing. So there's a lot of people that follow this podcast and watch this podcast closely that maybe don't have kids yet. Well, I know there's some out there that don't have kids yet, don't have a family, maybe aren't even married. And they're kind of walking in that like singleness and just, I don't know. I'd just love to speak to them a little bit this morning. They desire it. They want it. So what would you say to a woman who really wants to be a wife, who really wants to be a mom, but is still kind of in that waiting season? Like, what should she be focusing on right now if you were to speak to that girl?
You want me to
go for it.
Well, I mean, I think we've all been there, first of all, and every season has such purpose, and it's kind of hard to tap into your purpose in that season. I'm from my perspective, like I always grew up wanting to be a mom and a wife. Like that's what I dreamed about, maybe everybody's a little different, but that season of singleness, I was always just ready and anxious for that next season. That's what I wanted. But, the older I've gotten and the more being in ministry and trying to live on young girls in that season, that's always the same struggle, is how to make that purposeful and prepare yourself. So that's, to me, one of the things that I think we gain a lot of value from is learning to prepare for the next season, but also just learn to be content with the season you're in too, because godliness plus contentment is a beautiful thing. That is really where it's at. And so that singleness, just learning all the things, if that's your goal and that's the season you're looking forward to, is that wife and that mom, well, in this season, prepare for that, start learning all the things that is going to bring value to your relationship when God brings that fella along, So just learning to be faithful and loyal and stable in your emotions, stable in your mindset, stable in your strength and who you are, and confidence in Christ in you. And man, those are the things that are going to draw the right fella that you're really hungry for, and I just think there's so many character qualities that we can build during that season, because you're just getting into adulthood. Usually, that's your beginning to adult, learning to be responsible and all the things, but learning to value what is it that's going to create that home life I want, that's going to create the marriage I want, that's going to create me being the homemaker, the person that brings the joy and sets the tone of my home. Learning some fun things, make it fun. And that's another thing. We don't have enough fun. We look at things as work. We look at being mom as a work, as being a wife as work, or whatever, but it's fun. Why can't we just make it fun and enjoy that season as we prepare for that next one? And learning contentment is huge. If we can learn it, then it really carries us in the next season. Easier.
It kind of seems like when we surrender that yearning and like, I'm just going to do it in my own strength. I'm just going to go do all the dates. Like, I'm just going to go do all. When we kind of surrender that, I feel like that's when the Lord's like, I'll bring you the person. When you're quiet and when you're
learning
going
to trust,
through in my life, like I said, testimony, whenever I could get myself out of it, and I'm just like, and I'm like, Lord, okay, I just trust that you're going to bring the person. I met Darren. I just surrendered all I'm going to date everybody and I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go meet people. And I'm just like I'm tired. It was tiring,
Yeah.
And then Darren came along in his Dragon Ball Z t-shirt. And you're like, he's like weirdo, but I love him.
Yes, it was.
Anyway,
that's hilarious.
You were going to say something.
Well, I was just like, my girls are in this stage of like wanting to become wives and wanting to become mamas. One of them wants to become a mama. The other one is like, I don't really know, but I do want to be a wife. A trophy one.
A trophy one. Yes.
She'll be great at it.
She will be. She's been training her whole life. So she will be good at it.
I love that so
but
much.
That's one of those things where I've had to remember that your parenting changes as they become these stages, and it's not my job to lecture them about what they should and shouldn't be doing. But mainly just stinking being a prayer warrior for them and speaking truth and life over them when they're in a hard season of wanting to find someone and wanting it to be a good someone that they're like-minded with, you know what I'm saying? And so, I guess they both have had some heartbreaks, and that's hard, and heartbreaks from boys who did necessarily like line up with their morals, but then they didn't, you know, it just didn't work out. Yeah. And I'm like, it's not necessarily always about you, and it's not bad. Like you didn't work out because of something you did. And like they have flaws too. Like they are, you know, they don't know how to communicate. No, I don't know that any man knows how to communicate.
They definitely communicate different.
I'm learning. I will always be learning how to communicate.
I'm kidding. Mine is getting better.
It happens up here. It doesn't happen right.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I can think about how to communicate all day long.
But yes, just like advice, like trying to listen, and mainly just being a prayer warrior through that season. But I love what you just said about preparing for when they step into that season. I'm going to share that with my girls of like, hey, why don't we just focus on preparing to become that wife one day and that mama one day.
What's going to attract that guy you really think the Lord has for you? What are the things they're going to look for? I'll never forget when we had what was it? A purity conference we did for junior high girls. And we had several young men up on the stage, and girls had written out questions for them to answer. And one of the questions was, what are your standards for a girl? You know, and they were talking about things like, you know, your modest dress and just your,
their faith was one of those
your
responses.
Faith, your joy, your easiness. I mean, lots of things are the things that you want to talk about, even the topics, the kind of, you know, and I think these girls were in shock. Yeah. You know, because we really don't.
The world tells you.
We don't teach our young girls what that looks like in a healthy perspective and what guys really want in a relationship for a possible future wife, you know, and so that blew me away. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it was good. So good.
Challenges me.
I think for me, I remember that season very well. And there was just, I don't even remember where I ran across it, but I fell in love with my Bible and I read scripture all the time. And I ran into this psalm. It was delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. And I started out memorizing that, and I memorized it so that, you know, the Lord would give me the desires of my heart. And you know what I mean? And then as I grew and learned like who God really was and how he was calling me to walk with him, it was much less about my desires and much more about me giving him my heart. And so I delighted in the Lord and found joy there, and that fulfilled me. And then I didn't have to go and want all these things because I was filled up with him.
So good.
And so I think that would be my advice to someone in a season they don't want to be in. Like, delight yourself in the Lord, because there is delight there. He is full of joy and life and love. And I think sometimes we just envision God as this angry dad that we've disappointed because we're in a bad spot. And that's just not true of who God is. I mean, he is loving and kind and he leads us well and he wants to sit with us and guide us. And so fall in love with the Lord. And then when you have a spouse, you can love him better, because I'll say this too, that I had that heart of delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. I was delighting in the Lord, and then we got married and I shifted the priorities and I put Luke up on a pedestal and spent less time with the Lord. And then I had this job, and then it was the Lord and I got distant. And then my marriage crumbled and I wondered why the Lord wasn't answering he promised me this was good. And why? Well, get yourself back where you need to be, Betsy, you know, like put the Lord here. I'm pretty sure Jennifer Cochran had to tell me that.
Thank God for people that can see beyond your feelings.
And like, Betsy had to tell me that.
It just heard from Cody too.
So good. So good.
Cody's half girl. I mean, he gets in touch with his feminine side real well.
He's really good at stuff like that.
Really
the counseling thing.
I know. He's raised by great women.
I know. You know why I know? Because Luke counsels me
Yes.
and people. And I'm like, oh, that's so good. And he's like, I know, Cody told me 10
Dang,
years
Cody.
ago. I'm like, oh, it's cool.
Well, another word in that scripture that I think is so cool is the fact that the Lord's teaching us, delight yourself, like enjoy this life.
Mm-hmm.
There's joy
good.
to be had. A
Yeah.
lot of his scripture points us back to joy. The joy of the Lord gives us strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be strong,
Yeah.
And so I love the words that he uses and that we're drawn to. And if you think about that in relationships, we're all drawn to people that are life-giving and joyful,
Yeah.
and so that needs to be a goal for us
I love that.
as women, because the enemy steals, kills, and destroys in our relationships through lack of joy, overthinking, worrying, not enough, all the negative, heavy things that we don't have to carry and we don't have to take on. So that joy thing is bigger than we give it credit for in our lives,
Absolutely.
And it's just beautiful for people.
I was sharing with some women this weekend, and one of the things the Lord really I've been in places with women, and I don't feel bad about saying this because this is true. And I think everybody's probably felt this. I've been in places with women where people just won't even look at you, or they won't come speak and say hi, if you're new in the room, like nobody comes to you and you're just like, okay. But I went to this place and they were so hospitable.
Yeah.
And part of my talk, it just kind of wove into like, we should be approachable.
Mm-hmm.
We should, as Christians,
Yeah.
we should be approachable. So if we're walking around with this look on our face, like, don't talk to me, like there's no delight in that, And so I don't know. That just goes back to if we're pursuing and we want this spouse, like we have to be approachable for everyone, not just
That's right.
men in our lives, obviously. But
Yes.
I don't know.
And
I
not
just think that's a
just-
good word for women.
Yeah. And not just like be standing in the room and looking intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
don't talk
Yeah,
to me. But
be
also
welcoming.
the flip side, I encourage us not to be women that are standing in the room so insecure and anxious
That
about
they
So
can't.
good.
what we lack, or we're comparing or
Mhm.
whatever, that we're not letting anybody walk in community with
Yes.
us because we
Or be
bullied.
bold enough to
Yeah.
just go up and say hi to someone. Like I think
Yes.
our phones have done us a disservice, especially in the younger
Mhm.
a
generations.
nervous
like,
tick. You just I feel awkward. Let's just
Yeah, and
text
bought the lie.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a lot, but buying the lie of that awkward
Yeah,
feeling.
that's what I
like
was
that
gonna
awkward
say.
feeling has no
Mhm.
power unless you give it power, and then
Yeah.
you're going to be stuck and you're going to be alone because
Yeah.
everything's awkward. Like
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't buy that lie.
Another one of my favorite things, talking about these young girls in this hard season,
Tell them.
and we see this at church a lot, and it just does my heart so good, is the whole power of discipleship. You know, the older mama helping the younger mama. And it's so sweet because like I was telling you a while ago, Clara thinks you're the best mom in this whole wide
So
world.
cool.
And I love that. It does my heart good seeing her watch you. And I want to be a blessing to you, but you're the one blessing my heart with your cool, chill ways with Liddy. You don't overthink things. You don't worry too much. And you're just fun and sweet and chill. And I need that in my life, by the way. So I love, it's just a neat model that the Lord has set up for us, that whole discipleship thing. And if I could encourage young mamas in something, it would be go get in the back pocket of some woman that's you like the way she relates with her husband. You like the way she's raising her kids. You're drawn to that. You see the Lord at work in that, and just go get in their back pocket. Don't assume that they don't want you there, because
that's
I
good.
am so blessed by these young mamas that come and talk to me or call me during the week or want to come over and drink coffee. I'm like, yes, it's a yes for me every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever's happening is more
And
important.
on the flip side of that, like, thank you for being a woman who invited me in for coffee when I was young and we were newly married and all the things, and I had babies and, and so the challenge for the older women would be go find a young woman who you can encourage.
Yes,
like there
yes,
is someone in
exactly.
your life
Yeah.
who needs
Exactly.
you.
And the
You don't have
younger
purpose,
women
love
like,
don't do
there's
it
some
on your
purpose.
own.
Yeah.
Go seek that. I just had a conversation with Darren
Mhm.
the other day, and I won't sidetrack us too much, but our first year marriage was so hard because we both came in with so much expectation and so much brokenness from our past or whatever. And we both came in headstrong, me a little stronger, head wise, a little stubborn. And we did not ask for help. We didn't seek people. We were embarrassed. We were like, this is supposed to be great. Why is this so hard?
Yeah.
Why? And it was that like pride of like, we're going to figure it out. Like we can just do it in our own strength. And if I could encourage anybody, whether it's
good.
motherhood and you're just like struggling or your husband, marriage, whatever, just go. Somebody else has either gone through it, walking through it, that, and that's like you say, us Swedes, but no, like Darren always has this saying. He says, like, find somebody that's doing something that you like look forward to. Like you're talking about mentorship. Like if somebody's doing something really well that you want to do, like look at all the other areas of their life too. Like in the business world, he talks about, well, if they're a very successful real estate agent, like what's their relationship with their spouse look like? What does their family look like? Like, is it all, you know, like mentorship? Find somebody that's doing it better than you. Get over yourself, and just go get in their back pocket, like, and awesome. And build community because those are build friendships
and be vulnerable. Like don't
surface.
Believe the lie that what you're thinking in your mind and what the enemy's lying to you about is something you need to keep within, because you can't say that out loud because that would make you look really bad. Like, don't believe that lie. Just go speak it out to somebody, because something I have learned, we've learned, is sometimes when I say it out loud, it's like, that sounds really dumb coming out of my mouth. And then Betsy's there to speak truth over it, or whoever is there to speak some truth and some life into it. And then you leave the conversation so much lighter and just drawn closer to the Lord. So don't be scared to say things out loud and be vulnerable with those mentors.
I think we could all testify to the benefit of, well, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. When you just get it out there, like the realness, like this is where I'm at. This is the struggle. Not stay there. Have friends that hold you higher and speak truth through it. But just getting it out, like the freedom that comes with that. It's just like, hey, it's not just me anymore. Like somebody in life can walk through this with me. So
I want to say this too, to something you mentioned. You said you all got married and it was hard and you were like, this is supposed to be beautiful. And I remember that moment in my marriage of going, like, I think society and culture and just maybe just lack of knowing, you get this rose-colored glass kind of mentality of like, we're going to get married and it's just going to be smooth sailing. But you're living with a boy. It's hard. You are still learning who you are. You're still learning how you want to make your family look. And it's just a lot. And so I think the same thing goes to like when you start wanting babies. You just look for these things like if we have a baby, it's just our family's going to look perfect. It's going to do what I think it's supposed to do in me. And I think we've got to go back to like, if you're not satisfied in the Lord, you're never going to be satisfied in marriage. You're never going to be satisfied with your kids. You're never going to be satisfied in any of these seasons that you keep striving for. And so I think the sweetness is that those are gifts from God. And when he's in his rightful place and you walk with him, you have this marriage and then it's hard, but you've got the Lord to hold you up. And then you have this baby and it's hard, but you've got the Lord to hold you up. And then the joy is in the middle of all of it, you know? So,
well, and I think in the church, we are not preparing our young people for marriage, honestly. I mean,
I have so many thoughts on this.
We're talking about singleness. And I think about, I had the best parents. I had the best parents, but I really struggled with navigating relationships and keeping that healthy and God honoring. And, I don't think we really set the foundation right for our kids. Like if this is something I oversaid to my children growing up and they're still not perfect and I don't expect perfection, but I just was determined to try to give them the best foundation for their future marriage. Because that's that is the biggest decision after salvation, but how are our kids going into that? What do they think that's supposed to look like? And we're not, even when you're the most prepared, it's still hard and challenging. You got to learn to give and take. And I think, I don't know, something that's really sweet. First of all, God designed marriage and he designed it to be successful. His that's design good. Is for us to be successful in relationship.
We're broken people.
Yes. And we are broken people and we have a lot to learn and we're sheep. We're called lots of things in the Bible that are not rowers.
That is the biggest diss.
And learn. I know.
I'm a really pretty sheep.
I mean, hey, I know a smart sheep, right? No, I don't.
It's so good though that God designed marriage to work.
Yes, for success. It doesn't mean it's not going to be messy and you're not going to die. And the other part of his design though is he designed us to serve one another.
Yeah.
How often are we having that conversation with our young kids, even from little ages, how to serve their friend, how to share their toys, how to not always think about yourself. Because we go into our relationships, our marriages with the whole thing of, okay, this is what I want. This is what
it's
I
all
see
about me.
happening.
I
This
want to
is
feel this way.
my
This makes me
dream.
feel
This
good.
is,
This doesn't.
and that's not God's way for success. And so I
Good.
think
So many
it's
truths
so important for us to learn how to share with our kids. And one of the things big with my boys, we said over and over, and I just got in the back pocket of people ahead of me because I saw mamas training up their kids well and teaching them a lot about relationships and seeing really good results and fruit from that. And so one of the things, even it seems little, is just teaching your kids to be friends with somebody they're interested in. You know, just go on dates with somebody, get to know them, and just be friends.
Yeah.
You know, don't take the pressure out of any physical, whatever, you know, your next expectation. That's all God's got a design for that, and timing, and that's all beautiful and sacred. And we need to actually teach our kids too how sacred marriage is. That covenant is compared to the love of Christ for the church.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big. I mean, that's what you know, so there's so much to it.
And our marriages raise generations. So, and they change generations. And that's not to put the weight on us, because really the weight is the Lord's to carry. And if we're abiding in Him and we're walking in Him while we're trying to do this thing called marriage and this thing called life and this parenting and all of that, I think one of the most rewarding, or I don't know what word I'm looking here for, but the best, like the leading by example is where I'm getting at. Like when we're leading by example and our kids are seeing us, like it's not always going to be pretty. Our kids have seen us fight. I don't like not fight, but they have known when we're in disagreement. And then they have seen us go to the Lord, and they have seen us go to mentorship, and they have seen us. So leading by example of like, hey, it's not always going to be easy and it's not always going to be pretty, but then where are we seeking our help from? Where are we getting our help from? And I think that raises the next generation to find their help in the Lord as well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Speaking of the next generation in marriage, this is just so the Lord, how He just carries this conversation. But just like walking into marriage, like that season, just engagement. I feel like engagement is low key just like torture. It's like wedding planning, and then you're like, that's my person, and moving together, not moving. No, it's just like engagement was so funky. But like, if you could sit down with your younger self before becoming a wife, like before that union, like what would you tell yourself? Like now that you are walking with your husband, you've been married for, you know, y'all are sharing all of these beautiful years with your husband. Like, what would you tell yourself as a new wife stepping into this? Like, how would you encourage her or debunk what she thought? Whatever. Like,
I mean,
kind of a big question.
I have so much still to learn. I don't have it all figured out. You know, Cody and I still are trying to find that balance of dealing with frustrations that we have with each other, or disagreements, or things that can be something big if you allow it, you know. But I think Scripture models so much beautiful things for us. And just one of the things that came to mind when you said that is something I admired about Mary, the mother of Jesus, is that when she was feeling all the emotions and she was upset, like one time in particular, she was looking for Jesus because he was like 12 years old, and he was left back teaching in the temple, and they didn't realize they went to the next town and he went with them, and then realizes whatever a day later. I mean, major mom failure.
Yes.
And I mean, they go racing back and they find him in the temple, and they're probably see he's fine and he wasn't paying attention and didn't go with them. And she's probably angry, and all the emotions us women can really let take over. And he tells her, I'm about my Father's business, which, I mean, that's a funny statement in itself to your mother, you know, and the fact that she didn't respond, and that she pondered those things in her heart, because ultimately she knew her God. She knew this was a special calling she had. And then just her responses were such a big deal. And I would love to tell my young self to learn early that Cody's not the enemy. Our battle is not flesh and blood.
Yeah.
The Spirit is where we battle, you know, and prayer. And you don't have to always have the last say. That's another big one for me. Yeah. You don't have to always have the last say. So responses are such a big deal when you train yourself younger to respond well and to deal with things without letting your emotions carry your words and all your responses. It's life-changing early.
Yeah.
We would have had a lot more joy along the way.
That's a good word.
So
As she was talking, I think what I would go back and tell my younger self, which I did not do things the right way. But still, if I knew then what I know now, what I would go back and tell myself is fear causes you to try to control, and control brings it just brings so much heartache when you're trying to control and grasp and grasp. When really, in big scheme of things, we don't have as much control as we think that we have. And if fear is causing you to try to control things in your life, you're going to be anxious and worried all the time. And you're going to start looking for things to numb yourself from that anxiousness and that worry. And then that distracts you from your spouse. It distracts you from being a parent. And so if I could say to my younger self, it would be, hey, why don't you go ahead right now and lay down that control at the feet of Jesus?
That's good.
Because you don't have it.
You don't need it.
And you don't.
And there's freedom in not.
Like,
you know,
that is freedom.
when somebody, when you're like, where are we going to go to eat? And they just say something, you're like, oh, that was easy. We can all just take a deep breath. Like not feeling like we have to. That's like the best example of that I can think of. Food. Great.
I'm with you.
It's going to all relief. Thank goodness I didn't have to make a choice.
I think for me, I would go back and tell myself to not worry about what people think and to be confident in who you are. And I think that was just, we married young, and I didn't realize I didn't know exactly who I was yet. You know, you just learn and grow so much in those younger years of really who you are. And I think I'm almost 40, and I would never go back because I love what I've learned. Like I love the wisdom that I have right now, that I just feel like the Lord has just grown me and taught me so many cool things. And I would never give that up to go back.
And think how many times we kind of want to give up. Like we're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Or, you know?
And those hard seasons that brought me to this place, I wouldn't trade them.
They're priceless now when you overcome what we know to be the enemy's tactics. When you overcome and you persevere. Priceless.
That's
and you're a lot stronger than you think you are. Because if the Lord is in you, you're going to make it through. I just really feel like, and that's just because of experience. So I wish I would have known that, but I didn't learn that without those experiences. So
we have a lot of pride in ourselves. We really do.
That was my thing. It's like, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to be the rock star wife. And you, like, I had to literally, like, I'm still to this day, like, having to just let go.
I know.
And just learn, like, hot top submission. We were just studying the other day. That used to make my skin light on fire. Like, I was like, how am I supposed to do that if I have an opinion too? And, like, it was just like, oh, so if I could go back to myself, I wish I knew, like, I wish I had studied and learned God's design for being a wife and really just, like, clung to it. Like, like just what that looks like, like, biblically, like, in not being so, this is my plan, this is what this is going to look like, and learning what God says about it, and how, like, when we are working as a team, when we are serving each other, like, how much more beautiful it can be whenever it's like not just striving and going, you know, my way or the highway. And it's like, if I could just go back and tell Katie, like, it would be like, learn what God's design is for you in this season and the rest of your life. Being a wife, you know? And I just didn't. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't. Still to this day, I read, everybody's like, oh, Proverbs 31 women. No, I'll still read that. And I'm just like, Lord, teach me to be this. Lord, help me in this moment with when I feel this way, or my words, or like just constantly having to renew and remind myself of God's design for me.
I was once a my way or the highway wife and mama, and that just doesn't work, y'all.
No,
it just doesn't.
I think submission, we're like raised, or culturally raised, to be strong, independent women.
And where does it say that in the word of the Lord?
It doesn't. And I think that word submission is so scary for us because we're like, we lose control, right? But if we go back to submission, is the design of submission is protection and provision.
Yes.
And I
exactly
now in my older age, I know that I long for being secure and safe with
Yes,
the Lord, number
absolutely.
one, and with my husband, number two.
Absolutely.
And that was probably where a lot of my fear and control, like grasping, came from. And now I have that. And I feel like I've learned to submit and surrender. And that is a beautiful, peaceful place to live.
Absolutely.
And it is God's design and God's gift.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not this negative thing that like, oh, she says submissive to her husband.
It
like,
is so freeing when you know your roles.
Yes.
And you know what God's plan for our roles are. And then when your husband is the head of your home and he gets the last say on decision making, although, you know, he doesn't lord it over me, you know, we discuss all things, but that is freeing. Like you said, it just feels great to not have to carry that kind of load. We're not built for that.
Yeah.
We're not designed for that.
And also what we bring to the table is so important that if we're so focused on trying to do their job, we're missing out on loving and carrying the atmosphere of our home like we're called to do.
Yeah.
And
so true.
Now your home is jacked up all the way around because you're in the wrong place and he's not living up to his potential and your kids aren't getting the love that, you know, like it can really wreck things when you're not in
It's a good point.
your right roles.
So good. I love that.
Woo! Lots of wisdom
Let's
there,
go.
ladies. I love that. Man, okay.
You know what else though is crazy about this is our flesh. That is not natural for us to serve one another.
No.
And we got to know that. We got to recognize it's going to take effort and work. And if we're going to serve one another, we need to do it with excellence. And it's going to be hard work, you know?
Yep.
But at the same time, the reward and the fruit of it, you can't even put a price on it, you know? But we got to know we got this human nature that we got to train.
Yeah, I think that's so good
training
too, because
is ongoing.
yes, you have the power of the Holy Spirit in you, but he doesn't act without you allowing him
No, we have a
to
free will.
come in,
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
so good.
And so we
That's
got to
really
learn to, we talked about that this morning in our little quick 3-minute Devo. We read a scripture and we talked about, we don't work like the world works. We let the Spirit have a minute to move before we let our flesh come out, you know? But that's a training thing. That's not something that comes naturally.
I'm working on it, Betsy.
I know.
Working on
Same,
it, okay?
Same.
And like, I will say it's been cool, like to see Darren and I are both really starting to walk in relationship with the Lord for the first time in our lives, like these last couple of years. It's like, I think we both had to debunk, like, we just grew up in the church doing the things, going through the motions. But that relationship, like that didn't start till we were in our early 20s. Like, and it's so beautiful. But going back to submission, like it's so easy to walk alongside. It's still hard sometimes. It's a lot easier to walk alongside your spouse when they're leading from a place of like the Lord speaking to them and, you know, the Lord's design for your family instead of like, this is just what I say.
Yeah.
This is just, you know, it's like, you can tell they're hearing from the Lord. So it's like, okay, the Lord's speaking to you. And it's really cool when the Lord speaks to you.
To both of you.
Yeah. And then they like, one person just says it and you're like, he said that to me too. Like that is a really cool, like confirmation. And so I feel like that's been just cool as a wife to see and learn from Darren in a sense of like, he's not just leading me out of his selfish desire. His, you know, it's like, it's been cool to see that. So,
well, and that's beautiful because a lot of men are not actively leading their families spiritually. And I bet a lot of women that are listening are struggling with, well, he's not doing what he's supposed to do, you know? And I honestly, being married to a preacher, even though I've been married to a preacher, I felt like, I need him to lead me more spiritually or whatever at home, you know, and along the way, this or that, because I am weak and I need help and whatever. But understanding that when you honor your husband, that honors God. You're not called to change and fix him, but just honoring him brings honor to the Lord. And sometimes that's just a refreshing time when you realize, okay, he may not be doing exactly what we know he's capable of and what the Lord's called him to, but this is my husband and I'm going to honor him in this season.
Yeah, that's good.
That can be hard.
That's
though.
the one thing that's in your control is how you respond.
That's
you know
so
what
good,
I mean? So right there, that's if you're struggling in your marriage and you're like, well, he's not doing his part and I'm not, whatever. I don't feel this. I don't feel that. Like you get a choice and you get to choose to honor him. And that's not always easy. But.
No, it's not always.
Man, that might really reveal the Lord to him a lot quicker anyway.
Right? Then what is it? The nagging wife that's
what
like the
happened?
leaky roof.
Yeah, we're bad. The nagging wife.
Nagging wife
drippy
is like a
faucet.
Yes, that's the one.
My kids have that one memorized
Annoying,
because they've heard it
obnoxious.
so much.
Yeah, causes mold.
Woman on
Could just
like
go
you live on
through
the
that.
rooftop. Nagging
That's
wife.
so good. Okay, so we transition into, I feel like we're just going through the seasons of this
So many
podcast.
good. I love it.
And I love it. So singleness, walking into dating, preparation, getting yourself right, walking into marriage, things that we would do different, and just equip ourselves with more. Now let's talk a little bit about motherhood, specifically early motherhood. So we have a lot of mamas. We ask y'all questions, by the way, whether you know it or not, just to kind of get a poll of like, where are you at? What are you struggling with? Where do you need wisdom poured into you? What areas? And so a lot of these questions came from you guys in just different seasons. And so early motherhood, man, a lot of people asked about just, there's a lot of noise in our generation. So this is going to be really cool to hear from you guys, because I'm not like trying to call y'all old. I'm not doing that.
We are very aware. We're very
but
aware.
y'all parented without social media, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
For the most part.
Clara,
Yeah.
Okay.
a little bit, but
Okay.
she was little.
But
Not
for-
very much
For
of
the
it.
Not
most
like
part,
it is now.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely
No
not like
way.
it
I
is
just
now.
feel like one of our biggest struggles, like you were talking about preparing
Yeah.
for Livy. Oh my gosh. It was like I had to just get off of everything
Yeah.
because it was like, if you can't do this, then you do this. And this is what crunchy looks like. And this is a biblical wife and mom. And if you're not, able to breastfeed your kid, then that doesn't align. I mean, it was just like noise after noise after noise. And so just encouraging our early, those people that are just in the beginning, maybe their first baby. What was y'all's like biggest influence? I had a really hard time kind of forming this into a question, but like, I feel like our biggest influence is like everybody's telling you should do this, you should do that, or social media is telling you should do this, you should do that. How did y'all kind of navigate being moms and just like, I don't know, like just learning as you go? Like, I don't know, what was y'all's biggest influence in that season?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet you our answer for the first person is the same. I bet it is that we called our mom every day.
We had our
That's
mom.
what I was
Yes.
going to say.
Me
My
too.
mom.
What a
Yes.
great mama.
Yeah.
What a great mama, number one.
I called my mom all the time.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer Cochran, and then Shannon Farnsworth. She had a boutique in Anson, and I worked there with Maggie when she was a baby. And Shannon is a occupational therapist, physical therapist, anyways, works with kids. And she would come in and teach me all these cool things to help Maggie learn and grow and develop.
So
and like,
cool.
it was so neat. And I was just learning from her, and
Yeah.
very cool. But also,
you can probably hear my daughter.
that's little lady.
She's making her appearance.
Hey girl, hey. So one other person that was really influential for me was Luke Sprayberry. He brought so much influence to me by saying things like, hey, Betsy, people that cared much less about their kids, which he has a different phrase. I won't say it on the podcast, but he says, people that cared much less about their kids have kids that survived. So you need to calm down a little bit, because you're doing good. You love them.
That's good.
You love the Lord. You're praying over it. Like you're trying, like that's all you can do. And it was just a good reminder, some perspective to go, settle down. This is all okay.
Doctors will tell you the same thing to this day. They're
Yes.
like, Katie, there are people actively like, I don't know, doing cocaine and they're pregnant, and like they're like, you can have your Coke if that's what you needed that day. Like, it's gonna be okay.
Your Coca-Cola.
Like,
right.
Yeah,
Not
whatever.
cocaine.
Yes.
Let's clarify.
Not Coke. Oh,
Let's
that was a bad
clarify.
parallel.
Yeah, there we go. You better clarify
Like, not
that for
cocaine,
you.
but just a
Don't
Coke,
worry,
you know?
people. She's okay now.
Saved and delivered. Oh my Lord.
She's free of the addiction.
Oh my God. Addiction. Okay, so that's so cool. So y'all really leaned on your people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I worked at a doctor's office.
Oh.
So
Fun.
I had a lot of influence there as well.
That's so cool.
All right. So how would y'all encourage that new mom who's in the season and has all of those voices? And like, I feel like for me personally, it was so hard because everybody, even family, like no shade on my family, they were like, this is how you do this. This is, you don't vaccinate, you do vaccinate, just all the voices. Like, how would you encourage that new mom who's just overwhelmed with all of that and wants to just have her baby and take care of her baby? And, like, how would y'all speak life into her?
Just invite the Lord into that. When you're rocking the crying baby that can't sleep, and I didn't always do this perfect. So we are not here today on this panel to say, we know what we're doing. We've got this figured out. But if I had had an older woman come and tell me some of these things, it would have helped. And I did. There were nights where I had a baby that wouldn't go to sleep, and we cried and we rocked and I cried and I prayed and she cried and we made it through the night, you know, and then we rested the next day. Yeah. And so I think that would be the thing, is like, invite the Lord into your decisions, like he literally wants us to live like that. And if we're trying to do it on our own, that's probably where we find the most of our striving and fear.
Yeah.
You know, but when we're with him, we can have peace. So,
and I would say turn off the noise.
Yeah.
So good.
Because there's a lot out there. And I mean, my kids aren't little anymore, but I can still like, if all that noise is going on like just what they're ingesting in their bodies at 19 and 21 years old, which I have. Their Takis and their junk that they eat. And
Coca-Cola.
Like,
Hey,
Coca-Cola.
could be cocaine.
Like I can get even like fearful for like, they're going to give themselves hormone problems and like, they're not going to be able to have babies and all these things, and, you know, get all worked up about it. But I myself have had to learn, like, you got to turn that noise off and you got to seek the Lord in it. And the Holy Spirit for discernment. And hey, if you make a wrong decision, like, there's grace.
There's a lot of grace.
There's you can change it. Not every decision's permanent. You can change it. So I think discernment, where you find peace, where
be ready to pivot at all times.
Pivot at any time.
That's good.
Well, when I think back to when my babies were being born, I mean, I think your perspective is so huge in how you experience things. You know, like, it took us a while to have Will. He wasn't an easy one to have. Like, it took us a while. And so, I mean, I immediately had such a gratitude for even being able to have a baby, you know, that first one around. And then even after Clara, we had several miscarriages. And so, like, I think when you understand how grateful you should be for being a mom, I mean, just the privilege of being a mom, like, and I had a mom, and this set my foundation well, that made our home a place of peace. I loved being home. I enjoyed, you know, home life. You know, I dreamed of that. And so I think understanding that our perspective and how we're viewing marriage, whether it's other things we're seeing with people around us, social media, whatever, that we're trying to say this is the way it should be. Your perspective, you got to pay attention to what your perspective is on it, and set your focus. You know, what is my focus? What are my goals? You know, and keep redirecting your thoughts to that, and make that your priority, because, you know, everybody has an opinion about everything, you know, and the camps are far and wide, you know, and you can get really bogged down in the decision making of these things. Well, you know, if we can just find peace in what God's called us to be and do. There's a lot of peace there. We're called to this. We're created for this.
That's so
created for this.
Yes, I literally, I'm in that,
we don't have to work as hard as we think. And that perspective that
good.
You're looking at this lens through matters. It's huge. And you got to let all that other stuff go. Opinions will kick your butt. Expectation is killer when it comes to.
And do your best until you know better, and then do that.
There you go.
That's good.
Keep gaining wisdom.
Practical.
I mean, we can learn.
We like it, Nina.
We're in the generation of learning.
I stole that from somebody, but that's not good.
That's how we.
I stole everything I know.
I remember, like, after I had Libby, like, I still to this day, like, you just like, you think of creation and all that in a totally different. Like, the Lord literally knitted this human who's now in your arms, in your womb. You did nothing but munch on food and, you know, grow. And it just blows my mind. And then, like, after I've had Livy, like, just trusting in, like, the Lord, like, both of y'all have said that, trusting in the Lord, like, he's given you and equipped you with all of the things. Like, there were things
for what you're doing
that I was like, I literally have no idea what to do, so we're just going to do this. And then, like, I was like, nobody told me to do that. No, I didn't see that anywhere. Like, it's just what I thought she needed at that time. And it's crazy. He'll just kind of give you all of the things.
It's crazy how he created us to be able to naturally do things. And I think you learn that in parenthood because, like, when your kid's first starting to learn how to walk, and that gets a little nerve wracking, you don't want them to hit their head on the table or pull this thing down on them or do this or do that. And then they just naturally learn how to walk, right? And then it comes time for them to learn how to drive. And you're like, what? Wait, how? They can't. they're not going to know. They don't know how to do that. Like, what? And then
they're
they
gonna be
start,
okay.
and then they start driving around town. You're like, I'll let you drive around the block, and then I'll let you do that. And then they're like, hey, can I go 30 miles down the road? And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. But then you have to like release and let things happen. And then you're like, they just knew how to do that. It's like they were equipped to do that. And then they go to college and you're like, they can't, I don't know.
They're not going to make it.
They're not going to make it. I don't know how they're going to survive. I don't know how this is going to happen. And it's like the Lord equipped them for it and prepared them for it. And it's like, oh, it's like we were created.
Do you remember when
to
Chloe,
grow?
when Chloe called you about cooking chicken for the first time?
Oh, that's still sketchy. I have a thermometer and it's still sketchy.
So stressed out about her cooking
It was
chicken.
hilarious.
You didn't want her to get salmonella.
Yeah, and I tried to control it, and I kind of flipped out on her. I'm like, you get it. And then I had to call her and apologize and be like, I'm so sorry that I overreacted about
I forgot all of that.
chicken.
I was just thinking like her calling, going, "How do I cook this chicken?" And she figured it out.
She did, and she cooks chicken now, and
That's so
she's
funny.
actually, I think she buys frozen chicken and cooks it that way now, and that's fine too.
Whatever,
She's
whatever.
21. Do it the way you
Hey,
need to do
budget
it.
You got
cut.
this now.
Budget
You
cut,
shop
yes.
at Aldi and you figure it out.
Yes,
I will say this too. Like, I love what Jennifer said. It is such a blessing to be a mom, and there's no like we can do all the things that we think could make us get pregnant and have a baby, but it is the Lord. It is an act of God for life creation. That is not a human act. We do not put that baby together. We do not make two people form a baby. We don't do that. That is not in our power. That is in God's power. And if we have a baby, what a blessing. And that is a gift from God only. And, that's very important to understand.
And we need to teach and train our kids to view that way. Like we're in a generation with what is held sacred.
Yeah.
Marriage should be held sacred. It should be a beautiful, respected covenant that is just when it's honored by God. And it's just it's a beautiful thing. So life is sacred. We should view it that way. Up until 100 years ago, it's always been, I mean, there's always generations that have struggled. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. But we teach and train what we want that next generation to revere and hold sacred. And so it's sweet when we train that way.
I think this is super controversial too, but
Tell it.
Man and woman
Yes, for sure.
are made to create life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
outside of that, it does not work physically,
Mhm.
anatomically. It
yeah.
does not
No.
work. From a little science nerd.
It's not God's will.
No. And
No. It's not
I
his
mean,
design.
to multiply is to reproduce, and whatever. This took a turn, but I think it's important to just say that because it is the
Yes.
truth, and that
Yeah.
is why marriage should be sacred between a
Yeah.
man
And
and
it
a woman.
needs to be, like you were saying, it needs to be instilled in our kids.
Yeah.
We're going to talk
Mhm.
later about hard conversations, but
Yeah.
y'all, my eyes are opening. Like, I knew there's evil in the world,
Yeah.
but like all of these resources now with like podcasts and discerning which people to listen to and like their missions and some of their ministries. Man, my eyes have been open to like the trafficking and just like all kinds of stuff. And I won't go too far into it, but like literally like they're working on technology to be able to grow humans outside of a body. Like basically a womb that's like made of tech, but like eventually, like if we're not training our kids, like
To
can you just
recognize
think
that
like
that's not God's
decades down
design.
the road, like
Yeah.
they're going to think that it can be normal. Like
To do that.
if
Yeah.
you can't have a baby on your own, you can just go get one from the, so just,
Wow.
it seems so foreign to us because it's so new, but I'm just thinking about the future generations. I'm like, if you think they're lost now, like it's just only going to get more confusing.
Yeah.
And so that's so important, like as mamas and just, even other kids that aren't our kids, like just
Yeah.
reminding them the truth because they may not hear it. You never know your kids' friends, like if they're getting that truth too. It's so good.
Thanks for watching part 1 of this episode. Part 2 drops next week, so stay tuned.